Hello, welcome back to All Up in Your Wreath Business. I am Palan, your host, and we have Dona Mullins with Whimm Wreaths Decor today. Welcome to
Hello.
the show. Yay! I'm super excited to have Dona. If you guys know her, tap a hello in the comments as you join us this morning. So thank you guys so much for joining us. It's no problem. So, Miss Dona, we're going to get all up in your business this morning. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
All righty. So, we're going to start out with a little bit of back history about yourself and, like, what did you used to do before you started making wreaths?
Well,
Lots of things.
a lot of things. Well, my first job, like out. Well, first of all, I was gonna be a pharmacist.
Oh,
I was a pharmacy major in college. I know you were probably like, And I worked in a pharmacy, and I kind of figured out fairly quickly, like, that job's really boring, and I don't think that I can count pills all day. And so, and I got married when I was 20 to my high school sweetheart.
Oh.
And I was in college. And then I got pregnant with our first child within just a few months of being married. And so I learned very quickly that I'm actually not smart enough to be a wife, a mother, and a college student. It's just not in me. And so I started appraising real estate. I appraised real estate for like 10 years. Yes. Probably right around 10-ish years. And I appraised real estate. And I decided to leave that. It was a very, very demanding time in the real estate business. And I had someone reach out to me and wanted me to work in mortgage lending. So I was like, sure, I'll work in mortgage lending. So I did that for a while.
Yeah.
My husband has actually been in the exact same industry and career since he was 18 years old. Okay. And so his job actually moved us to a new town. I was around 30. And so, maybe like 33, something like that. I'd been in the mortgage business for a few years. And so we moved to a small town. And so I stayed at home. And then I went to beauty school. And I did nails. I was a nail tech. I worked at a school. And then one of my good friends opened a scrapbooking store, and I designed and taught her classes. And wow. I will tell you that really was something that creative outlet. I've always been a creative, always since I was first married. I've been a creative. The outlet of teaching people something, I was like, oh, this is the thing. Yeah. So it was awesome. It was so fabulous. I got to do that for a few years. And life took her to a different place, and she ended up closing her store. And so I ended up staying home for a while. And I got recruited then to be a manager for a large retailer named Buckle. And I did that for a while. And I'm just that girl that I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I just never knew. I just kept trying all these things, and I loved all of them. Yeah. But Buckle moved me to where I live now. I got my own store, and I managed the store here in my town. I absolutely loved it. And then COVID hit. And I had been there for, I think, around 8-ish years, maybe a little more than that. And I had already kind of been dabbling into this wreathing thing. Right. And so just to back up just a smidge, so COVID hit like in March. So like in October of 2019, I was shopping in the Hobby Lobby. And my cart, and actually it's probably before October. It was probably more like August, because I was shopping in Hobby Lobby. My cart was overflowed with fall, all the things. Like, I feel like it was fall and Christmas, to be honest. And someone that I know in the community was like, hey, what are you doing with all your stuff? Like, it's summer. And I was like, well, I need a new wreath for my front door. And I always make a wreath. I always make extras because usually someone in my family will want a wreath, or I'll gift it to somebody or something. So I had enough supplies to make a few wreaths, make a centerpiece or two. And she said, could you make me one? And I was like, awesome. Yeah, I can make you one. I said, do you like this stuff? And I was, I'm just showing her all the things. Like, you like this? You like this? And she's like, yeah, I like all of that. I'm like, okay. So I came home and I made her a wreath. And then she's like, well, how much do I owe you? And I was like, no. And so I was like, so I knew how much, it costs, and I understand pricing because I worked in retail for a long time. And so, I priced it out. She was like, oh, okay. And didn't even bat an eye at it. And I was like, here's your wreath. And so I went back to work and I was telling my assistant manager, who's one of my very dear friends, and telling her what was going on. And she's like, if you really want to make this a thing, you need to get a booth at Oktoberfest. So Oktoberfest is this big to do here in my town in Ponca City. It's a big deal. Been going on forever. They boast like anywhere from 18 to 25,000 people come through Oktoberfest in our little town. We are a town of about 25,000 people. Okay. So you get a lot of people in, and she's like, you should get a booth. And I'm like, okay. So I did. So I signed up and I got this booth. I'd never done a craft show before. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do it. So I just started researching. I'm the kind of girl that I don't ask a lot of questions. Normally, I just start figuring it out on my own. And so I knew I needed like a grid wall. I knew I needed all these things. So but then I was like, I need stuff. Right? I got stuff. So I'm working a retail job, and I'm very lucky in my buckle. I only worked about 45 hours a week. A lot of managers work a lot more than that. So I was just very fortunate just with my team and all the things. I was just a very fortunate manager. Didn't have to work a ton. I had a great team. So I would go to work, and then at night I would come home and I would just make things, make. And because I really knew I needed a lot of stuff for that first show. And the first show was really successful. It was really good. And I just got really well known in the community, and people started. Can you hear that noise? Is that
noise? I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either. So I had some success. And so I was just selling and doing all of the things. And then COVID hit. And I was home. They closed our store. And I thought, I really wanted to stay home. I really did. Yeah. And so I worked for the 8 weeks we were closed to make this thing happen. I started a Facebook page. I just did all of the things. And when it was time to open the store, I resigned my position.
Wow.
And I stayed home. So that's kind of how it started.
That is cool.
It took a while to get here, but I just know this is where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. That's really amazing. So you just started out. I know you used to. You have also started your own group, right? So tell us a little bit about that, please. Oh, did we lose Donna?
There I go.
There we go. It's okay.
You think it's a Sunday. Why are people trying to call me?
Oh, yeah.
So sorry. Yes, I did. Okay, so I started this thing, and was just making wreaths and doing all the stuff, and I decided I wanted to teach. I knew that I had that calling. I'm just gonna mute it. Unmute it. Nope, didn't help. I just don't know what that sound is. So anyways, I just knew like the mentoring and the teaching was something that was real. I was really drawn to. that is actually something I got to do in my previous career when I was with Buckle. As a manager, you are trained to mentor and train your team, and you're trained how to sell yourself, how to market yourself, how to basically like run for mayor in your town so people know who you are and they trust you. And I learned a lot about sales and marketing in that job.
Right.
And I felt like with what we do here with wreath makers and makers in general, a lot, I felt like I saw was missing in a lot of the teachings, even that I was a part of, was sales and marketing. Nobody tells the wreath maker, yeah, you are a great wreath maker, but if you can't market your product or sell yourself, you're never going to sell anything.
That's right.
And you have to be that person. And I felt like that was missing a little bit in our community. You don't hear a lot of people talking about sales and marketing yourself. You know, a lot of it is about yourself. And so I knew I had that to offer. And I started a group, and it's only really been live for a little over a month. But we have 110 members so far.
Girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And we are learning so much. I'm learning, they're learning.
Yes. That's awesome.
It's just wonderful. It's so wonderful. And I just know, like, it's what, like I say, it's just like you figure out, like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's really amazing, girl. You are doing it. I've taken a couple of your workshops as well, and you are really knowledgeable as far as like the retail aspect of sales and marketing, getting yourself maybe in a boutique, different items that you can have, all of those things. So I love that that was different and that you offered that. So you guys check out her group. How can our viewers like go and find you? And all the things.
So I do have a Facebook page, and it is on a whim, and I'm a whim with 2 M's. And that's a whole nother story, y'all. That's where you really need to research your name before you really get your cards made and such, you know, just gonna say. But anyway, that's for another podcast. So I'm a whim with 2 M's, but I'm a Dona with 1 N. So I feel like it just works. So I'm on a whim, Wreaths Decor by Dona on Facebook. And pinned to the very top of my business page is a post that has the link that you can sign up for my group. And it's called Whimsies Inner Circle. So we are whimsies inside our circle.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, it was fun. So my virtual assistant Debbie actually came up with the name, and so I can't take credit for that. She started calling us whimsies, and I'm like, oh, it kind of stuck, and so that's how I kind of came up with that. So it's right there at the top of the page. If any of you guys would like to join, I would love to have you. We have a good time in there.
Yes, awesome. I super love Debbie too. She's sweet. She is so sweet. So could you tell our viewers what is one piece of advice that you would tell a new wreath maker, like someone just starting out in the business?
Well, several things. Several things. For one, I do think that and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I will say that I think business coaching is probably your most important thing. If you're going to start into any business, and you don't have to be a wreath maker. You could be making jewelry or painting or whatever, because really the creativity is already in you. You're already creative. Yes, you want to hone your skill for sure. But if you have to make a choice and you can only do one thing, I would say invest in yourself and get some business coaching. That would be my one thing. The other thing is you don't need all the things.
Right. Yeah.
We want all the things. Like I'm like the tool girl. Like I want every tool. And you don't really have to have all the things. But I do think that finding your people, finding your tribe, and finding people that you can rely on and lean on and trust and know that they have you just like your family has you, just like, you know, that kind of thing. I think it's so important. And I do think sometimes people feel lost. They feel lost. And our community is amazing. Like I have never really, I didn't know anything about a community when this whole thing got started, you know, way back in 2019. the first person I saw was Sherry and Amanda with Grace Monroe Homes.
Oh yeah,
and a mother-daughter team, and I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they had this live video stream that every Friday. I watch Flower Friday, and I'm like, that was the first group I belonged to. They taught business in there. I learned a lot from them. Our wreathing style is a little different, but to be honest, like just the tried and true, the way you start your wreath, the way you build your wreath, and really the business aspect of what they taught is relevant. Is so relevant and so amazing. They were so great. The next person I stumbled upon was Andrea with Ranch House Craft Supplies. I didn't even know that she made stuff, but in my first group, they used her to buy things. And then I stumbled onto Damon. And then, when I stumbled onto him, I don't really think there was anyone else coaching with them. I can't really remember, but I don't think. And you start stumbling onto these people. And I think, like I said, like one of the first things I really figured out was, wow, there's a lot out there. And there's a lot to figure out, but I do feel like if you can invest in yourself and invest in, it doesn't have to be my group. It can be anybody that you feel comfortable with. I just think it's really important, to do that, because you just don't realize what you don't know until you hear about it. And you're like, I didn't know that. And there's so many things that you don't know that you didn't need, that you didn't know, and you're like, there's so many things. And I think that the business aspect is what will propel you forward, because it teaches you a lot of the skills that you need to get your product out there. And we're already makers, so.
Right. Yeah, it's very true. You do have to invest in your craft. Like, you're going to learn so many things when you're in there. It's a game changer. It really is a game changer, especially when you're starting out. If you've been in it for a while, just everything changes day to day. Technology changes, Etsy changes. Every time you look up, it's a change. So you need to be in something to be informed, so you can roll.
Yes, you have to be a lifetime learner, and you have to be willing to pivot if something's not.
Yeah, you do really have to.
You have to be willing to pivot if something's not working quite right. You've got to be willing to, you've just got to be willing to kind of roll with it sometimes. And like I said, being a lifetime learner is one of those things. Your craft is going to change. What people are looking for is going to change. I mean, big people loving big bows might change. I mean, I am starting to really see a lot of requests. I'm getting a lot of requests for wreaths and things with no bow, especially from young people, young brides and things that want stuff for their front door. And they don't like that. They like it for some things like Christmas. Some of the holiday stuff I think is always going to be really fun and over the top, but some of that everyday stuff, they want this, very simple, elegant type of look. And you have to know that. You've got to really put yourself out there and be looking at those things and be receptive to it. Don't be like, I put a bow on all my wreaths. Well, if someone doesn't want
it's trendy, like that minimal, modern. It's trendy.
Yeah. And, I shared with my group the other day, we were talking about mesh. And I've always done grapevine and florals. I mean, I've been making wreaths since I got married. Because I wanted a beautiful home. I couldn't afford to buy that. So I figured out how to make it. And I was telling them that I was at my first TDR was in 2020 at the heat of COVID.
Yeah.
And Melly Mel was there. I'd never met her. And we had a hands-on make and take of a pancake wreath. Well, I had never even touched mesh. Okay. Now I had seen it. Sherry and Amanda had put it on a grapevine, and I was like, okay, that is fun. I might try that, but I had never really messed with it. And a lot of people didn't do the make and take, but I was like, I want to learn. I want to learn.
Yeah.
So sorry. I want to learn how to do this pancake wreath. And so I listened to her and I played with that mesh, and I loved it, and I was like, okay, and it was just on a little frame, and I kind of did mine a little different,
Yeah.
I like mine a little different. But when I came home from that TDR, I posted that on my Facebook page, and I sold it in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, I got a market for some mesh. Okay, you know what I mean? And I wasn't making that. I didn't know. And so just opening your mind to that technique. So I have so many people that are like, I don't like mesh, or my mesh people who are like, I don't like grapevine. And I'm like, listen, if you just need to learn the technique just in case somebody wants to buy it from you, And so I'm just incredibly grateful that I was there and that I opened my mind to do something that I had never done before. And I'm telling you, Jerda was sitting next to me, and then I'm trying to think who was in front of me. And bless it, I know they were probably thinking, this poor woman is so clueless. So they were all helping me with the things and trying to cut the mesh and measure the mesh. And so it was a really fun experience. But I say that to say all of this is you have to always be learning something new and keep your mind open to things that you might not love, but someone that watches you or someone who follows you might love that. And if you don't offer it, then you're going to lose out on a customer.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
It's very true.
And now I have fun with mesh.
I love it. I use it all the time. Yeah. So find these groups, even if you have to go to YouTube University, as I call it. Like, you want to get relevant and know everything that's going on, and try to know a little bit of everything in your toolbox, because you never know what a person might ask you for. You just never know.
Absolutely. And if you, and all the little workshops, like I remember I took a workshop one time about for wedding stuff. And I don't really want to be like I don't want to do a lot of weddings because I don't think I have the temperament to deal with brides. Like, I'm a nice girl, but sometimes I'll be like, whoa. But I got to do a little bit of decor at a wedding recently, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. But had I not invested in like a little workshop and kind of understood questions to ask and things like that, I wouldn't have been confident in that. So even just learning things, take lots of notes. You might not use it today, but you never know. In 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, someone might say, hey, I needed XYZ. And you're like, I was trained on that. I can help you, And so I've taken trainings in things that I didn't think I would ever use, and I have used. And so I just think if you've got the time and you've got a little money to invest in your craft, always do that. Always do that. And one thing that's going to happen too is just exposure and meeting new people. And, just like I stumbled across you one day, you do that by, interacting with other people in the community. And then that's how it kind of comes full circle. And you're like, oh, wow. Yeah. Now I know her. Or, oh, wow, I've been in her workshop, or I've been in her group or his group or whatever. And you just start to get to know people, and you become a family. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a question that I've searched for, and then I just put it out there like, I can't find this. Can you help me? So many people are so willing to help. And, I just think it's kind of an amazing thing. If you can put yourself out there and get in some of those groups and workshops, I just feel like it's invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it.
You can't. So it's definitely worth it, you guys. You guys check her out. It is on a Whimm Wreaths Decor by Dona, right here on Facebook, and look her up to join her group as well. The post is pinned at the top of her business page. I appreciate you so much for coming on this morning, and look forward to the podcast next Sunday as well. We will have on Lisa Kellum, you guys.
Lisa.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah, she'll be on at 4 p.m. next Sunday, you guys. The podcast is available on Facebook for all the new people watching, but it's also available on Spotify. So you can listen in your car, at the store, at work, in your headphones, on your iPods, anything, anytime, anywhere. So you guys, I do also have a new text number that will notify you before each broadcast. So all you text is easy mood. It's easy mood to 214-807-1274, and I will text you guys before each episode. I appreciate you all so much for coming. And again, I will see you on our next journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You
Bye,
are giving some awesome advice, and I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Bye.